Hikaru, and today we're here with Titans Heir, our 5th edition campaign made by DM Dave. Also, new month. Whee! Speaking of new month, I think I should announce it at least on stream now. On July 11th and 12th, we will be running another charity stream, but this time it's going to be like from midday on the 11th till midnight on the 12th. We'll be running a charity stream for the Trevor Project. And we are going to be hosting, I think, what is it, 6 games? 6 or 7 games? 7 games.
6?
Plus
no,
the
7.
Starships and Star Wars? Yeah,
7.
7. Plus, we will actually have a block of video games in the middle to go between the 2 days, where we will have a bunch of speedruns and Kaizo streamers.
I believe they're all
tag
Kaizo
teaming it.
streamers.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not sure exactly
they're
what
all
they're going to be doing, but there's going to
suffering.
be, well, yeah, suffering. As you do.
As
Thank you to
Kaizo
Garm
do.
for that, by the way.
Yeah, Garm apparently invited like one person and was like, "Oh yeah, you want to come for our charity stream?" And there was a misunderstanding in what exactly the invitation was for. So now we've got video games and tabletop games, and this is great.
I don't
now
think
we
anyone's
have...
complaining.
No one's complaining. This was a fortuitous mistake on Garm's part.
More games means more fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, if tabletops is not your favorite thing to look at, then we'll have video games for you. Just don't sleep that night. It's fine because it starts at the video game block starts at midnight on Saturday till
Midnight
noon
Mountain
the
Time.
next day. Yeah, Mountain Time.
And we have
So,
4
hey,
different
If
streamers.
you're not in the North America section of the world, maybe it's not midnight.
Time zones.
Time zones.
The bane
Annoying.
of existence.
Doors. I'm sorry.
I blanked out. Sorry.
Doors.
Indoors.
Bane of existence.
Yeah, that's true. Luckily, you guys haven't run into many doors here.
Yeah.
It's an island yet.
Yet. However, who's to say that I won't just smack them?
It's true. Before we start, I would like to give a brief thank you to our sponsors. Roll20.net has been sponsoring us for over a year now, and they are the oldest, I think, and one of the better free tabletop solutions out there. You have the ability to pretty much play any tabletop game you can think of, and it has ways of playing any game, honestly, tabletop related, even just cards. You want to play cards on tabletop. But there's a lot of content there, including more recently pretty much all of the new Adventurers League stuff. So you can actually play Adventurers League content on Roll20 with everything pre-programmed. All you have to do is buy the module, and it has the maps and everything ready to run. So check it out. So anyways, Titans Heir. Last session you did a bit of sleuthing, did a bit of breaking and entering, and didn't get caught thanks to an invisible imp. What do y'all recall from last session?
Let's see. Tan is apparently some kind of hero who's gonna get a weapon and fight a giant Hydra. So, cool there. Also, there's a wall that is very obviously depicting all of us, despite the fact this temple is not all of us. Despite the fact no one is supposed to go into this temple except 2 people, and it's a really old-looking piece of art. So, yeah, we were all on 1. Tan was on 2. So, Tan's the most important one here. Have all the attention on them, please.
I don't know what I did to make the DM mad, but...
Don't worry,
You
Carter
also
loves
saw
you.
that-
Oh, she loves doing this kind of stuff.
We also saw like a whole bunch of murals depicting all sorts of cultures from all over this world, which was really strange given how isolated this island and this particular culture seemed to be. And they also really seem to like the number 12, because everything we're seeing is depictions of
Also, the temple has like a basement of multiple levels and a well of death that we must never enter.
the well of familiar killing.
He got better.
Zen was very concerned. Yeah, Zen was very concerned about Buddha.
Yep.
Why is that?
Reasons? No, Buddha has it seems like fire mind, and it puts her on the outs with the tribe. And she also wanted to know about a specific room, and in that room we found the 12 creatures on a mural, and so we did that for her.
It's true.
But also, the brat, stupid gnome that is probably causing
Emotionally manipulating her.
Yeah.
Turns out he's not as lost as we thought he was.
Unfortunately, I was hoping that he would have, I don't know, fallen into a pit and died.
Or just walked
Buddha
into Hydra Nest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Buddha has agreed to take Zen to meet him to hear his side of the story, because it's true, Zen didn't want to outright kill him when she first met him. So they are they're hoping that the gnome remembers that they didn't want to kill the gnome right away. That's what they're hoping.
Copper
Okay.
is very, very, very not cool with Zen going just with Buddha, and has actually considered sneaking after. Not like they can actually sneak that well.
All right. Well, I believe we ended with you guys checking out the rest of the temple.
The first floor, yes.
Yeah, the first floor of the temple, and that was the end of the week. Does anyone have like a tracking of how long you've been in the village now?
So,
3 weeks? Not
No, definitely more.
I think
Definitely
we're
more
on
than 3
week
weeks.
7. I think we just finished week
Yeah,
7.
I wasn't sure if it was 6 or 7, but it was somewhere around there.
I think this is the end
we've
of
already
week 7.
been over a month. Yeah, we're approaching 2 months in the village.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3 weeks, because I knew you had done one like monthly check of I can't remember if we did 2 weeks last session or 3 weeks. Okay. We'll say it's 3 weeks then. All right. So you have a new week before you, some new knowledge. You did do some discoveries with Ifune's help, and some of you have gained a bit more knowledge of Draconic. How's everyone doing on Draconic?
I have a plus 14 towards Draconic.
I've been minning my rolls a lot of the time. I'm at 8. I'm almost at tourist level, at least.
Ooh. Am I the only
Zen
one?
is Buddha-centric Draconic, because they've been scouting and stuff together. So she could probably, they can probably, in Draconic name animals, but
Animals and get around.
Yeah, have a conversation with anyone in Draconic, they cannot do that. Except Buddha.
Yep. You can do all the like tracking words.
Yes.
That's about it.
Ziri is at 9, so like Ash being in the same boat, on the cusp of being able to somewhat communicate.
Tourist Draconic.
I'm just
All
gonna
right,
keep calling it that. It works.
I mean,
it's-
yeah. At least all. Where is Tan at?
For those
I've
listening,
not taken an
0.
interest in the language very much.
Big fat 0. Okay.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
hang out
Well,
with Ifune, and Ifune translates, so
yeah. You probably caught on to like no, yes, and go away.
that makes sense. That's fair.
Maybe you can count up to 5.
But you're missing 2.
or that thing where you get like 2 numbers confused all the time and you like
That's
start
7.
counting.
And
Yeah.
you can't count backwards. You can just count up.
Just
Yeah, no,
for-
it's like 1, 2, 7, 5, 8. No, you got it wrong. You got 1 and 2 right. Language is difficult, especially when they're made for like draconian mouths. Yeah, slightly different. All right, so new week.
Languages.
As usual, so there's 2 things that we'll kind of gloss over slightly, and that is however much days you want to spend learning the language, and however many days you want to spend just helping out the people in the village. So helping out the people in the village will count for earning trust, and that basically just is a cumulative +1 for every day you help. And that goes to the end of the month earning trust roll. And learning language, you get to do your intelligence roll plus the amount of days you spend learning the language.
Oh, so it's D20 plus intelligence plus days. Got it.
Yes.
Cool.
I can start because it's pretty easy. I'm gonna just help out where I can for 4 days. And then the other 3 days I'm gonna focus on the language.
Okay, so just spending your time being nice to people.
Damn!
Holy
Nice.
Wow.
You have a +0 to your intelligence.
I have a +1. It was 3 days of
right, 3 days.
language.
Yep, and 4 of help.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else doing something simple or most of their week doing something like that? Sure.
I'm going to be spending 5 days with the language and probably the other 2 repairing, making nails, horseshoes, stupid stuff like that that people need for
So
the village.
helping the village.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Make sure you guys keep track of that because I'm not. And you'll need those pluses for the D100.
Okay. So mine was a +2, and that was another... Ooh, I'm almost fluent in Draconic.
Nice.
Maybe 1 more week if I roll like that.
So I'm just going to copy paste the...
You're welcome, by the way.
Well, now I have it written down. Last session I did not.
And then you mentioned that you didn't know it during D&D Brief, and I just posted it in the chat window.
Yeah, that was really funny. What about Tan? What's Tan doing?
I think just helping out all 7 days.
All 7 days just helping out in the village?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of.
That's not what I wanted to do. That's what I get for pressing up and enter without reading. All right. And I suspect I know why Michelle is going last, so I'll go with Matt first.
Yeah, same amount of time as Ash. 3 days with language and 4 days
with helping out in the village. Okay. Why do I have to roll?
I am also touristy.
Yay. The fuck? I can only roll 2s and 7s now. All right, there we go.
I think the breakthrough that he has is that, like, at one night he's like kind of like, well, has a, well, it's draconic, so snake-like mouth. So he spends a little time like wild shaping like fangs and stuff like that, and I think that's what's finally able to help him get it.
I love it.
I think
Okay.
Ash just practiced with Blip, and Blip kept insulting her, so at some point it was just stubbornness getting through.
Amazing. All right, so Zen, what are you doing?
Uh, so Zen's gonna do their usual thing of, hanging out with the scouts and learning more from them. And of
Hmm.
course, seeing when she can get away with Buddha to, uh, meet the gnome.
Okay.
So I'm
And
getting points with the scouting team. I
yeah.
don't know. That's what's going to happen with
So
what.
I'll say 2 days. You go out with the hunters. You start noticing that Buddha's kind of been slightly avoiding you or looking suspiciously both at you and the rest of the party. And usually when she has that look, it's mainly when she's got like the goggles on. Um, but eventually you manage to, and she's been trying to like keeping with the other hunters, and seems like she hasn't had any of her like fire mind attacks so far, and has been just spending time with the other hunters. Um, on the third day, she packs up a bunch of the food that you've been hunting the last 2 days. So that's 2 days for like earning trust, or one day for earning trust, one for language. Um, and you see her like packing up supplies, and you can tell she's getting ready to make a trip out to her um, cave.
And
Hmm?
hey, uh, are you going to let me go with?
She kind of looks at you, looks at the rest of the village. Your people are okay with you leaving?
Yes.
She kind of takes a moment, finally sighs, and goes, "Sure. Okay."
And on way, tell you what's in the room.
She looks at you odd. Room? What room?
You asked me. Okay. Okay. We'll talk about this on the way there. On the way there. We'll talk. Yeah.
Okay. You help her finish and packing her things, and both of you set out with the two tigers towards her cave. She's pretty silent on the way there, but that's not unusual. Um, she prefers the silence when traveling because it's safer and easier.
Yeah. So I won't really talk until like I wouldn't. Zen would know when to talk. They would know. You know.
I think the first opportunity to really talk is when you stop halfway there to rest and have a meal.
Last time you left before, you asked me about room in the temple.
When you mention temple, she looks like both alarmed and slightly upset. I would never. It's forbidden. No one goes into the temple.
But you asked.
No, I would not ask that. You're lying.
Okay.
She looks upset and kind of like turns slightly away from you and keeps eating her meal.
We're having fire mind.
She ignores that. But the rest of the journey to her cave, she seems like distant and like on purpose ignoring you.
Okay. Oh, she asked me. Yeah, she asked me. Yeah. Zen is learning what gaslighting is. Um,
Give me an insight check. Interesting.
Zen's been paying close attention to Buddha for.
Yeah. Going over the conversation you had and her reactions both in town and now, and like what you've known of her for the like nearly 2 months that you've been here. She truly seems to believe that she never asked you to do that. So less like she's intentionally telling you like, oh, I would never do that, and like denying it on purpose, and more she actually does not recall when she asked you that. So it's more like she's forgotten it and less that she's intentionally like misleading you. She just doesn't seem to recall what was happening that day and has no memory whatsoever of asking you to do that.
Oh, I don't like this.
So you get to the cave, and Vuda's distant, kind of unfriendly demeanor changes as soon as she sees the gnome, and she's all smiles again, and he welcomes her in fluent Draconic, and then glances past and sees you and kind of, oh, well, this is interesting, he says, switching to common. So you're the friend Vuda was talking about.
And your other friend Buddha was talking about. How you been?
Oh, I've been great. Lots to do out here. I just, didn't feel quite safe going up to the village where a bunch of people were going to try and probably murder me in broad daylight.
Hey, I didn't want them to do that, remember?
Yeah, that's good. I don't think your companions think likewise, though.
At the moment, everybody was really like stressed out. They had just been shipwrecked and lost on an island and hungry, hot, humid, afraid.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And well, to be perfectly fair, when I was on board that ship, I was kind of out of it and doing things that, would have been regretful had I been able to carry out. But, I've seen the error of my ways, and honestly, being shipwrecked on an island kind of changes your worldview a bit, doesn't it?
So how'd you meet Buddha?
Well, I was traveling along the northern part of the island when I happened upon her cave, or more like I was attacked by some creatures and she heard and rescued me. But, so how badly do you want to get off this island?
Does she know you want off the island?
No, I haven't exactly told her that. She doesn't need to know. As far as she's concerned, we're stuck here.
Do you know?
Know what?
What have you discovered being out here? What have you learned?
I've learned some things. Some things that I may not want to share with people whom I do not trust entirely.
I get it.
I'm sure there are things you've learned from this island that you would also not tell someone you do not trust entirely.
And I'm like, we, friends, I have not told anyone where this is.
You're telling that to Buddha?
Yeah. I'm telling that to Buddha and also in a way to where he understands,
Mm-hmm.
to where I'm not just,
Yeah. Buddha kind of nods and says something a bit more fluid, and the gnome turns back to you and goes, she says that that is very good and that you would have completely lost her trust if you had said anything to the others. She mentioned something about you playing with her. Uh,
I I respect her greatly. Um, I don't know how to I don't know how to lie to her.
hmm,
You know what I mean? I mean,
no,
eh, I know there's some magic stuff. I didn't want to blame her. I know she, with the fire might, but could someone had not doing anything to her, are you?
not doing anything to her. Being pretty nice to her. She's my only contact, the only reason I haven't starved to death or died to anything on this island.
Are you planning to hurt her?
Why would I hurt her? I just want off this island.
She asked me about the temple before the last time she left. She asked me about the temple.
Temple. What temple?
Buddha, you not talk about temple with him?
She shakes her head and he turns and kind of asks her again. You recognize the word temple. She kind of sighs and you get the gist of like her basically saying there's an old temple by our village. It is protected and forbidden. Um, and again, protection, our duty. And he turns, interesting. I would like to see this place. Tell you what, Zen, you help me go to the village and make sure your friends don't make things difficult for me. And I might be able to tell you in exchange about my plans for getting off this island.
You mean actually bring you to the village proper?
Yeah.
Okay, so I look at Vuda and I'm like, he wants to go to village? Is that okay?
Buddha kind of thinks it over and then finally nods
Okay.
and says, I'll protect him.
The rules, you need to know the rules because you actually look like a human male. You are the only one in this group that looks like a human male. So some of these
Well,
rules.
tiny human male, maybe.
But you okay, look, I'm with a tin guy and a furry boy and another yeah. So they don't look like mates to them. You look like mate potential, like you look okay, so there are some rules. I just want to let you know before you go because you might not like these rules.
Okay.
And hold on. Island. Oh, group of law and order. And yeah, so I tell them all like the rules about not kill, own a separate property, you can't kill them. That's I give them all of the basic rules, and I tell them all separate whispers are required to bear a minimum of 2 children. That's where you come in, because they don't really see men as like part of the team. They see him as thank you for your genetic donation. Now leave.
He looks interested. Um, he kind of turns to Vuda and asks her a question, and she kind of thinks of it for a moment, and then she kind of like lights up and talks about, and you hear something about gift, life, equals, and this guy looks amazingly smug as he turns to you. Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
May I roll another insight check?
Yes, go for it. Against who?
Him.
Him. Okay. Whatever Vuda just said to him, he likes way too much for your liking.
How are you going to get him in?
She repeats the same thing that she said earlier. And again, you get like gift, life, um, equals. And he kind of turns back to you. She says that she will give me the gift of life. It is apparently an old ceremony of sorts that a serpent whisperer can give to one person in their lifetime. The gift of life makes me a serpent whisperer. It grants me all the protections that a serpent whisperer has. So
Sure.
I think it'll work out fine.
Why did you do it?
Do what?
To the boat. Well, ship. Why'd you do it? What?
Because I was angry and upset and frustrated.
What?
I was a slave to the Dinzers for most of my life, and I am a gnome, and I have lived for a long time. I wanted payback.
People on the ship that were slavers.
No, but it was a Dinzer military ship. And it wasn't so much the ship as much as where it was going. I wanted to hurt them.
Where was it going?
It was going to Knotside.
What
Yes.
does Zen know about that area?
Do I have that? I think it's. Oh, goddamn. No, it's not. It's one of the bigger northern cities of Omeria, fairly heavy on the presence of Dinzers, but it's a pretty mixed bag of like Dinzers, Personians, and other folks. But it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of sort of like the capital city of northern Omeria. So very populated. Like there are millions of people living there.
So you wanted. Did you wanted to stop the ship from going there?
No, I was going to set the ship up as a bomb to level the city.
What does Zen know about Denzers and slavery and such?
They're not really known to be slavers, though I guess there has been slavery in the past, but Dinzers are not the only ones that have done any like slavery. What he's talking about is not something that is really known to like general population. So this is news to you, or why they would want a apparently scientific gnome as a slave. But then again, the Dinzers are the powerhouse when it comes to technology. All of the technology in Omeria is Dinzer. So all of the Magitech, everything that has to do with technology comes from the Dinzers. So in that sense, it makes sense that they would want to have a prisoner or someone working for them, possibly against their will. Like it's not above them. They're also the biggest military force on the continent. So
What did they have you build?
too many things, including the bomb I almost detonated. If it wasn't for those people on the ship who deactivated it. Now I can see it was a bad idea, though. It would have not just destroyed Knotside, it would probably have destroyed the whole continent. So I'm not sad they stopped me.
How about being angry?
Sorry?
I know about being angry. I know
Do
that.
you?
Yes.
Well, sometimes people are outcasts and sometimes people want to use you. I don't like being used. I'm done being used. But this time on the island has made me realize that maybe I don't want to necessarily go on a suicidal trip. Maybe I'll be more careful and more pointed about where that anger is directed.
Do I have to give you the speech?
What speech are you talking about?
If you betray my friend, and friends, things get ugly.
Oh, yes, I understand that. But I think if we can find common ground, then we can be all friends. Besides, I have a feeling most of your friends are just as equally disliked by those of the Dinser kind.
Some of them don't know it. I've been having to tell them.
That warlock friend of yours? She seems a bit naive.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make sure.
And I'm sure the Dinsers would have a field day if they ever got their hands on that tin bucket.
They'll call them that, okay? Because I
To
have a
be
way back. I have a way. I'm a part of something, and I have a way to get us back through a certain city and such. I'm, like I said, I'm part of something.
okay, I can deal with that. And I have been busy repairing something that might get us off this island.
All
All right, well,
okay. Please don't run your mouth off when you get to the village because they are not going to like me right now. Okay?
I will be on my best behavior. Nothing but helpful.
I look at Vuda. With that whole, you trust him.
She nods.
On your life,
She nods again, more firmly.
I look at him and I go, I want you to remember that.
Yes. She's a very caring individual, very misunderstood by her peers.
I know.
That problem she has, it's sure if she was on the mainland, she could just take some medicine and not have to deal with those episodes of madness. But out here, she's on her own.
All right, do this.
Good. He. I'd say you guys spend about a day there and then make your way back towards the village. Now, the three of you. It does take a bit longer to get back because you have him in tow. So you get there close to the end of the week. So, the rest of you have been in the village spending time, and a couple things happen that during the week. At one point, you guys are, helping around town, and there is, for some reason, two of the needle blast boas start fighting each other on the street. And you can tell that the villagers are having a rough time of trying to calm them down. and don't want to get anyone near because, needle blast boas are kind of dangerous.
Okay.
I can't do much to help because everything I could do is magic.
Does anyone do anything?
I can't do much myself because my answer would probably get us killed.
Yeah, you can't hurt their snakes.
I mean, do we have any bits of food that we could kind of try and use to lure them apart? I doubt it would work.
Basically, one person has one bit of food on one side, one person has food on the other, and just tries to coerce each snake to go a different direction.
I doubt it would work, but we've got to at least try.
We could try.
Okay. Mean animal handling. Either one of you with advantage or just both of you.
What do you
is
have?
Your animal handling?
2.
Settle. So you with advantage.
Way too much faith in me, but sure.
Better than me.
9!
Okay. Maybe not better than me.
They just ignore the food. They seem to be like butting heads, and at one point one of them just like manages to like encircle the other one and go for like a bite, and they can't quite like hit each other dangerously, mainly because of the spikes that they've got protecting their like neck area.
I use my speech just to try to probably like whatever you're fighting over, just knock it off.
They kind of acknowledge the fact that they hear you, and does beast speech let you understand them, or is it just one way?
It's not the spell.
Yeah, it's just
it's one way, and I have advantage on checks.
Okay.
He just told me, stop fighting. The rest of the village is worried about you. Think you're sick or something.
Okay. Okay. Give me is animal handling charisma?
I think it's wisdom.
It's wisdom.
You can give me a persuasion check. Yeah. Okay. The mention of the village is worried about you kind of makes them pause, and they kind of like glance around, and yeah, you see there's quite a few villagers who are like staring and trying to like, maybe we should step in, but also this is too dangerous to get anywhere near you. And one of them like hisses at the other one and is like, and they slowly just wander off in different directions. And you hear a collective sigh of relief as the village just like, okay, it's done. There's no problem.
For now.
I would want to ask just some of the villagers, these happen, do these snakes fight each other often? Do they look sick or injured or anything like that? Are they that territorial?
They don't seem injured, besides, what they just did to themselves. But one of the villagers goes, and they can be territorial sometimes, and if one oversteps its bounds, then the others will attack. I was not here to see what happened, but very likely that's what happened. One of them must have gotten in the way or taken something from the other one.
Anybody want to follow them where they go?
Sorry, what was that?
Zero would want to just maybe follow the snakes for a little bit.
Okay.
See where they go and what they do.
They wander off. One goes back to. One just continues on, like, slithering through the village, but when you go check on the other one, you see it go back to a corner behind one of the buildings, and there is a dead bird, and it just goes right up and starts eating it.
It's behaving any differently than it normally would.
Yeah, from give me an insight check. Okay. Your best guess, one of them had caught this bird and the other one tried to take some of the meat from it, and that pissed it off. And you can see the beginning of a scuffle in the ground there, and they kind of like took it elsewhere, probably on purpose to get the snake away from the food. Or boa.
Well, definitely.
All right. Tan and Ash, you two were spending time with the village?
Mm-hmm.
Great. At one point, Tomita, the arbiter of the village, approaches you and asks you to, if you can go out and gather more Zujadila. Says she's running low. And she holds up the yellow and purple striped fruit that you guys have gotten used to eating.
Which way do they grow? Outside the village?
It goes to the south of the island. She mentions that last time she sent her daughter, and that didn't go very well. So maybe this time it's safer if she sends the people who saved her daughter instead.
I mean, as long as we go together, it should be fine. We know to avoid the whole area.
Yes, definitely avoid the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So both of you set off to the south. Are you just going, both of you, or are you gonna pick up anyone else who's in the village?
Probably be safer in numbers, wouldn't it?
Last time of us wasn't enough.
Fair
I
enough.
just ask anybody that wants to come can come if they're busy. No worries.
So we can ask both Ziri and Copper and see if either want to come.
Copper would. They remember what happened when they weren't with the last time.
That didn't come through, Matt.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the four of you head on south. This is going to be a day hike, exploring the south of the village, looking for Sujadilla plants.
Mm-hmm.
I need a survival check from each of you.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I will also say, just in case shit hits the fan, Blip is currently invisible but resting on my head.
Okay. Okay.
19.
Nice. All right. Well, you guys do pretty good. So now you can roll 1d6 plus your wisdom modifier.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Copper. Bravo.
You found one fruit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to eat, so I'm not as familiar with them.
And of course, Ziri, being the druid in the party, finds the most. All right, so you all find, what is that, 15, 20? 20 fruit total. And you bring back the Zujadila. And honestly, I think because of the fact that no, it's fine. You come back with the 20 fruit, and Tomita is very thankful. Counts that as bartering for you guys. So you get 20 barter points for it. And because of the amount you came back with, you get a plus 10 to your earning trust.
Wow. Wow. We currently have plus 28 trust.
Nice. Well, it's a D100, so.
I know, but I mean, and it's not cumulative from the last time, right?
When you
We've only been really gaining trust points this time between saving the kid and getting these fruit and anything each of us has gotten individually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Got 15 for saving the kid.
Oh, so.
Yeah, was that added to your number? Sean?
No, it was not.
Yeah.
I just added all the trust that we got this time. Plus 15 trust. So that is another. We're at 43.
All right. Well, we're guaranteed to not do terribly. Okay. Once you get back and everything, the rest of the week. Actually, I'm gonna just roll for it. Ziri, you notice that as you're helping about in town and learning things, you notice that one of the other kids in the village has been kind of shyly shadowing you, following you around.
At some point, he might try to just kind of catch him by surprise. Hey there, I see you following me.
You hear her giggle and just like hide behind a building.
It's all right. You can come out.
She kind of slowly peeks around.
What's your name?
You should have seen this coming.
I did. I was just cannot remember where I have my list of names. I know I have a list of names somewhere. Ha, found it. You know, I'm going to choose one that's easier to pronounce. Iyine.
What was the other one? Porcios.
They have very interesting names. She goes, "You're Siri?
Right.
Why are you so big?"
Well, because where I grew up, Aine, all the trees were really, really tall. And that's where all the really, really tasty fruit. So people in that part of the area, in that area, grow really, really tall so we can reach the tasty fruit.
So if I stretch myself, I'll be tall too?
Yeah, I was picking like give her like a boost up. Lift her like 12 feet in the air.
You just hear a shriek of laughter, and like a couple of people just look over for a second because they hear the shriek, but then she's just like laughing and just like flailing up in the air.
There you go. Keep practicing and you'll get big and tall too.
Okay. I saw you talking to this Boas.
Yeah, that's something else that people like me can do a little bit.
Can I talk
Seemed
to him?
like they were really hungry.
I want to talk to them too. Can you teach me?
I can try, sure.
And I will teach you our language. You're really bad at it.
Savage kid.
I love it. Kids are
That's
blunt.
fair. All right, that's a deal.
Okay. And you spend like the couple days just like she's teaching you, and she's desperately trying to learn how you talk to like or understand them. She's not quite getting it because she's not exactly a furbolg, but she's trying. That probably attracts the attention of more of the girls in the village. So by the time Zen gets back to the village near the end of the week, you have a veritable classroom around you, though it's mostly them teaching you and then trying to like make slithering sounds and 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 harassing one of the boas who's trying to be patient because like they're kids in the village, and the needle blast boas are basically the equivalent of the dogs of the village. But it's like can't understand anything. And yeah, Zen arrives with Fuda and a gnome.
Well,
Oh,
So you
down
have a
here.
friend?
what is he doing here?
Just breathe.
Hands are on sword hilts.
No, 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 no.
I will trust you with this, but I am watching him.
He knows that.
I don't blink.
He knows that. But we'll talk more later. No killing. No killing.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Even though I can't actually like make facial expressions, you can tell by Copper's body language that they are not pleased with this turn of events.
Copper, if Zen brought him here and is telling us to
That's the
calm
only-
down,
That is the reason that he still has his head attached to his shoulders.
that would make such a mess, though. I'm just pointing out, that would be messy.
Perhaps.
As you guys are speaking, Vuda is speaking to the other hunters, and you can see Viothe also approaching as she is told that there is a newcomer, and those of you who can understand more hear her talking about some kind of gift of life, and she introduces Orner to the village. And after she mentions the whole gift of life thing, you see the females of the village kind of like nodding and kind of like a relaxed, like they were a bit tense because they saw this like small male gnome approaching the village. But after that, they're like, okay, okay, and they warmly greet him and basically treat him really good immediately.
I just
Off
look
the
Okay.
bat.
What she's doing is she's basically vouching for him by making him like they can do this once, granting him like she's really vouching for him. She's made him one of them, and she's put her life on the line for him. Because if he messes up, it looks bad on her.
Okay.
Orner kind of turns to you guys and goes, yes. And as a serpent whisperer, you know the laws of the village, right? And he looks at Copper.
Okay.
I look back, not moving at all.
Listen, we get you're a serpent whisperer, but still don't be an asshole.
I'm only an asshole to those who are an asshole to me.
I'm gonna point out he's still learning. They're still learning emotion, so you might not want to piss them off because we don't know what they're gonna do. Seriously, just chill.
Yeah,
And
we've had conversations with Copper, with them, because we've had some misunderstandings. So again, everybody just sort of breathe. Like I said, it's been very stressful. Very
I'm just
stressful.
leaning towards Warner and being like, well, I might not be what you would call an asshole to you if you didn't look so eager to take me apart.
It's just professional curiosity. It's not every day you see a walking automaton that is not being piloted by someone else. Unless you are and have been lying this whole time to everyone.
Why would I lie?
I don't know. Figure out what there is on this island. I'm sure the Dinzers would be extremely happy to find whatever is in that temple. And you are of Dinzer make.
That does not mean that I will tell them.
I hope so.
As you said, they would be very interested in how I became how I am. And I am not as like to want to tell them, or to let them study.
True.
Like I said, we want to protect. Okay?
We're all stuck on this island together, so we might as well not make enemies of those that we do not have to.
And I have to go. Yeah, I have to go find the. It's like, okay, sorry. And then after this, we have to make sure we find the other two, so they don't try to kill him.
Yes, that would be wise. And
Big Pen gets tiny gnome and just charges.
Yeah.
oh gosh,
So,
Copper is just like,
You want to go do that? I have a couple questions for Copper because I just thought of things. And I'm really curious.
what?
Okay, questions. If someone was piloting, say, one of your kind, and then fell unconscious, their physical body, would their mind still be, like, conscious in you? Like, is it possible that you were someone piloting you, but then something happened to your body and you're kind of stuck in here now and you just don't remember that? I'm just curious. That made me think of things.
It might. I've not heard of something like that. But then, my experiences are through me. So I don't know.
Warner looks extremely curious at this. You know, you might be onto something, kid.
Don't call me kid, but okay. I don't know how this stuff works.
No, right.
You're the first one I had ever seen like this.
Copper's just gonna shrug. I don't know that I'd feel so empty if I was.
Nah, empty happens whether you're alive or dead or anything else. This is normal.
I guess. But sometimes I'm not.
Good luck with that.
Yes. Are we further confusing and making Orner really curious?
Oh, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with curiosity.
Yeah, he's a scientist. How
and
else is
serves
he
him
gonna
right for being freaking confused.
Meanwhile, Ash just doesn't know a shit ton and has no hesitation on asking questions. Shall we go tell the others before, rage?
Yes, I suppose I might. And you see Copper just kind of shift a little bit in front of Orner. I might present an obstacle to said rage.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm doing this for Zen, not for you.
I mean, you're kind of also doing that for the people who might rage, because they'd get in shit if they hurt him, so, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. But, and then I'm just gonna shrug.
Then how did you find him?
That was Zen. How'd you find them?
Buddha led me to him.
That makes sense.
She clearly trusts him for some reason.
Yes. Oh, and I've already given him the speech, so.
The speech?
About the shovel speech.
Huh?
Like, if you hurt my friends, betray the trust, that. The speech.
That's a thing?
Okay. Oh, all right. So, like, when you finally have a groove, like, how I feel about y'all, it's just like, if you hurt one of mine, you make me want to kill you. That sort of thing. So that's speech.
I'm gonna reach down and just kind of pat Zen. I like you.
This is the first time I've had a group like this. Didn't know that was a thing. Now I know.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now you know. And he knows that includes
the anger
Buddha.
you felt when someone nearly killed your friends. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, I've already suppressed that. That's just in the back of my mind. That doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what happened there.
Not true.
So, both of your NPC friends have adverse reactions to learning that Orner is in the village and that Orner has survived and that now they cannot hurt him because apparently he's a serpent whisperer. But if only I knew their names off the top of my head.
Oh. Ifune.
Tuhaku was the one I was forgetting. Tuhaku, once you guys explain everything and tell them, hey, he's trying to turn a new leaf and is, for now at least, simmered down on the whole let's destroy the world line of thinking. Begrudgingly realizes that there's not much they can do while he's in the village at least, and kind of simmers down. Ifune's reaction is kind of different though, because Ifune, well, she's, kind of Well, there's two things. One, Ifuna is a Dinzer. So, and she was working for the military. So there's a bit of a degree of closeness to the people that he dislikes. But also, the first thing she goes, no, this is not good. If he's in the village, I'm leaving. I can't stay in the village. There would be 8 of us, and that is not good. There can't be 8 survivors. We were 7 before, that was fine. But he's the 8th. That's bad. That's just bad
Why?
news.
Why is that bad news?
No, because it's bad. It's just
Why?
it's bad luck.
What?
I may or may not be considered to be alive, so would that not mean that there were 7 survivors still?
No, you're still clearly alive, and you're a survivor, so that makes 8 of us. If there are 8 of us in the village, something bad is going to happen. I just know it.
Remember, there used to be more than 8.
Well, yes, but there's only 8 of us alive now. There were supposed to be 7. He was supposed to be dead.
My
How
point
Dan?
is,
Yeah,
My
I
point is-
don't understand.
How do you know that for certain?
Let me see. Those of you who, belong to civilization, so I think
So,
that would
not
be
most of us.
Okay, yeah, Zed would probably
Tan and
know.
Zed?
So,
Canon
Michelle
Zed.
has no deal. Michelle had no clue what this is. Zed probably does.
Yeah. So Tannen's Zen, when she mentions the whole 8 and 8 bad, etc., you recall that there's a Dinzer thing. I believe it's Knotside. I may be getting the wrong city, but in Knotside there's a mechanical clock tower. The clock has 8 hands that tell a lot of things. Where it's like a forecast of not just the time, but also like it tells the weather. It can tell when there's going to be like solar or lunar eclipses, but also it tells about disasters. And every single time that clock has had all of its 8 hands pointing in the same direction, so like all of them aligned, something disastrous has happened somewhere on the continent. And each one of these disasters has been named Hand of the 1, Hand of the 2, Hand of the 3. So far, in the hundreds of years that this clock has been active, they have aligned 7 times.
Oh, so this would be Hand of the 8.
Okay,
Mm.
okay, I get it, but we're nowhere near the clock.
That doesn't matter. The thing is, for a lot of Dinzers, they consider 8 being an unlucky number because of the fact that this clock has 8 hands, and that the Hand of the 8 has. It is actually a popular saying to say till the Hand of the 8, as in like till the world ends, because everyone is assuming that because there's only 8 hands, that Hand of the 8 is basically the destruction of the world.
The apocalypse.
Okay. Look, technically, he's now a serpent whisperer and no longer one of us.
He's not a survivor.
I mean, there's one other option. Like, so you're saying if there was an extra one of us in our group, you'd be fine?
Just as long as it's not 8.
Do I see anyone else around?
They have basically grabbed Orner and taken him on a tour of the village.
Okay, so there's no one else around. Are we like covered in a tent or something as we're discussing
You
this?
could you're in the area where the tents are, because that's where they came from.
Ash just
So you could go into your tent.
Ash just takes her hand and is like, just come with a sec, okay? Please.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's, say, 9 of us, you're fine, right?
Yes.
Blip, show yourself. And Blip just, whoosh. This is Blip. He's the 9th. You cool now?
That's wonderful.
What is that?
He's my friend. Isn't
Blip.
he cute? And I just take him off my head, and I was like, this is Blip.
Sure. Scary, shadowy creature.
Why does everyone think he looks scary?
He's not that.
Pep, pep.
He's not scary, and I'm just gonna poke him.
It's alive, has personality, not a figment of anything. That is
Also,
true, right?
don't poke him, or he might try and sting you.
Poke.
That's not bad. Well, it's different with them. Yeah.
He's made out of
They
metal.
got
Oh.
a thing going. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, see? So now there's 9 of us. We're good.
Oh, there were 8. Now there's 9.
Yeah. We just skipped over 8 because you didn't know Blip existed. So before we were 7, but now that Orner's here and you need another one, well, Blip exists. So now there's 9. You're good.
Okay, fine. And I guess Siri has a point. I don't know how long I'd survive out there. Alright, there's 9. Yeah, sure. I'll count Blip.
Thanks, Blip. Disappear again before, anyone sees you.
Wait, and then I'm just going to hand a bit of snake meat. Because that seems to also be a thing between Copper and Blip.
I mean, feeding him raw meat's probably a good way to go.
A good way to make him more playful when he tries to stab me with his poisonous stinger, even though it doesn't matter.
Playful, maybe not. Tolerant, maybe. But yeah.
Did you really just poke him?
Blip just disappears after he eats the meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I poked him. See?
In the butt.
It's exactly how familiar works.
Yep. You have a familiar, you have to poke it. Right?
Also, he will talk back to you all the time. It is fantastic. I will have full conversations with that cat.
He's so very talkative.
Mm-hmm.
Are you alright, Tan?
Okay. At this point, there's not a whole lot we can do about Orner. Just watch our backs.
Oop.
Hi, you.
I promise I'll try my best not to stab him.
You better not now, or we'll all get in trouble.
Oh, no, just him. Them.
Now there's 9. Awesome.
I knew that would fucking work. I was so happy with that worked.
Crisis averted. Yeah, that's the first time I started counting. I was like, yeah. Fune is extremely superstitious when it comes to number 8. To the point where she will leave her room if she's the eighth person, or if there are 8 people.
Are there any races with 8 fingers?
Not that I know.
I mean, not so much 8 fingers, but
What if she met
children
someone who didn't have 2 fingers?
or a child.
She would
with
consider
both.
them a very, very bad luck sign. Luckily, no one has 8 hands. That would be just terrible.
What are those children of Lulf called? Driders?
Writers.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I know.
God. Yeah, I don't know yet if there's anything like Drow.
Wait, does she, not like spiders then?
Oh,
Yes,
she
spiders-
hates spiders.
I wonder if in Omeria, spiders have 7 legs or 9, because all the ones with 8 have been killed. So, in order to survive as a species, they've had to adapt.
Meanwhile, I'm just like mentally being like, okay, Blip cannot turn into a spider around her.
Yep, that's correct.
She might just kill him.
Yeah.
Just outright. I mean, there's two possibilities there. One, she could try to kill him. Two, she could just run for her life screaming. Because, yeah.
I think I'd prefer her to try and kill him.
The problem is, it's a polymorph. If you squish him, he'll turn back into his normal form, and then you're dealing with this shadow with a poisonous tail who's going to be very mad.
If he survives it.
I don't think a slap of a hand or something like that is going to kill him. He actually has a lot of HP for a familiar.
Yeah, your familiars are a bit more resilient than the average.
That's because Pact of the Chain.
Wizard familiar. Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the week. But there is something that's going to happen, and I need Ziri for that. So I think we're going to go on break.
Isn't this also the end of the month?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll go on break, and we'll deal with the stuff that happens next after the break.
Be right back. And we are back.
Welcome back, folks. All right, so I have a question for you, Matt. When Ziri wakes up in the morning, especially since, for the most part, you guys have not necessarily had much action, but also, you want to keep up on things. Are you still doing your like morning, um, whatever ritual you do with nature, communing with nature to get your daily spells?
Yeah, he'd still do. He'd still spend some time in the morning doing that, even though there's
Okay.
not as many opportunities to use it on a daily basis. He'd still.
Prepares them. Okay. Um, when you're doing that, especially since the event with the serpent heads,
Oh.
you've felt something like a presence watching over the island, like something related to nature. And the more time you've spent on this island, and every time you commune, you kind of feel like it feels like you're on a hot spot of nature related magic. If it were in like wizard terms, it would feel like you're on a ley line of arcane energy, but this is a
Oh.
natural like hotspot of nature magic. And the more time passes, now that it's been 2 months since you've been doing this every day on the island, the more you feel that this like tight network of natural magic coming from the earth itself is right below you, and you realize that like whatever this node of power, it's right underneath the village. And the night going on the end of that last week, you have a bit of a, you're not really sure if it's a dream or more of a vision, but you see a dark cave and something within it writhing and moving, and you can sense a magical power there. And you try to make your way and kind of figure out what it is you're looking at. And the clearer it gets, and it's still like a very vague shape in the shadows, but you slowly start to realize that it looks like a huge tangle of serpent bodies, much like the temple itself, that is designed on the outside to look like a bunch of serpents intertwined and just. But this is alive. This is very much the creature that it was based off of. And you can sense its presence, and you can sense how it knows you are there. And you see eyes start to glow and look your way. And at first you think this is bad. This thing is powerful, and we already pissed it off once, but you can tell it it's beyond such cares. It's just a thing of nature. It's not good or bad, it just is, and it is intricately connected with the power of the world itself. And you get one feeling, one word: protect. And then you wake up to a scream. All of you do.
But
And you guys take double watches, right?
mm-hmm.
So who takes the watch with Tan?
Uh
Sin's always first.
Ash is always in the middle one.
Yeah, Ash with Copper in the middle, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's supposedly Ziri. So we'll go with Zen. Zen, you double up with Copper, right? Because Copper does 2 watches because he doesn't need to sleep as much. Okay. So Zen and Copper, you two are awake just before the scream. You have gotten used to, even at night, having this like constant slight green glow that comes from the pylons. That glow suddenly disappears,
What? Uh-oh.
and then you hear the scream.
I immediately go, everyone get up, everyone
Yep.
up now.
I'm
now.
nudging everyone.
What?
No.
What was that?
Come on.
The green light's gone, and they're screaming. The
Yeah,
green
that's
light's
bad.
gone. This is not good.
And just like you guys are like scrambling to your feet, kind of confused, blurry-eyed because it's the middle of the night, the rest of the village is doing the same. By the time you get out of your tents, out of your hut, and head towards the village, you see that most of the village is up, and they are all fearfully talking, many of them pointing towards the dark pylons.
Karu?
I'd like.
Where's the gnome?
Yeah, I would
And
like to
where's
look
Buddha?
at.
Where's Vuda and where's the gnome?
Orner was with you in the
Oh.
tent when you were waking up.
Okay.
So he's waking up with you guys and going to investigate.
Ooh.
As you guys approach the rest of the village, one of the serpent whisperers turns to see you and goes, You did this! You killed the light! Now you make big trouble for us!
We were asleep.
What?
Karu, can I see anything up there? Because I have perfect sight up to 120.
They're 200 feet up in the air.
Yeah, but do I see anything like
As far as you
movement?
can see, there is nothing. Just darkness.
Been asleep? Basically?
Everyone's turned to you now, and Viothe kind of calms everyone down because immediately people are murmuring, and you came to the village. How did you do this? Did you do magic? Have you been working all this time to kill off our light?
We didn't do anything. Like I
Prove
said,
it.
We did.
How do we prove it?
You don't, right? Warner, you don't know what's going on?
Orner's like, hey, I just got here.
Yeah.
Hey, Karu.
Yeah,
Where's Tohaku and Ifune?
with you.
Okay.
Where's Vuda?
Vuda is close to her sister, who is close to Viothe.
Okay.
And Vuda looks concerned, and also this, like, she looks like she might believe the whole it's your fault that the light has gone out.
Since we came here, we have obeyed your laws and your rules. We have honored your customs. Why would we do anything like this now?
We've been helping you all.
I've heard whispers that some of you want to leave the island. Are you telling me that that is not true?
I mean, has the thought crossed my mind? Of course, but you've said we can't leave, so we're kind of stuck here. But it's the same impulsive thought you get with a lot of other things.
You have not broken our laws and not done any magic whatsoever.
I haven't done any magic anywhere in here. I don't want to get caught with that shit.
What about the rest of you?
I
You've
don't
Any
know
said,
magic in the village?
you've said no magic is to be used in the village. You've not done so.
I have a question. Is copper actually like functioning inside? Because I know he's got like the same stuff. So I want to know if it's just like the temple green stuff or is it like all the green stuff? Is copper
Oh,
okay?
oh no. Am I?
Copper, when it went dark for a moment, you felt something at your core, but you are currently functioning properly. Your core seems to be intact.
Hmm. Is there any way? Would I know of anything that would cause the the stuff that makes up my core to malfunction or to?
Not in a way that makes sense to you. The cores are magical stones. They are powered by magic that like belongs to the core itself. Um, they can probably be depleted though, but that takes
A long,
a long
long,
time.
long time.
Yeah.
Did it feel?
How-
How did
Right.
my core feel when that whole thing went down? Was it like? Did it get cold? Did it feel almost inert?
It was more like you had a sudden sense of foreboding than anything else. Though maybe you, as a construct learning feelings, don't quite know how to put that into words.
Can anyone go up and check? Are the crystals still, like, the glowy things still up there?
No one has gone up there. How do you know there's a crystal?
I'm assuming
Did you
it's a
go up
crystal.
there?
I've heard of glowy crystals. They're a thing that exists elsewhere off this island.
Yes, we have many glowing crystals back where we come from.
Give me a deception check.
Wait,
Would
who?
it be with advantage because multiple people are doing it?
We do have glowing crystals back at home.
Well, no, yeah, I mean,
Technically
Ash.
speaking, the whole... I mean, copper technically has a glowy crystal inside of him. But I'm
Yeah.
not saying that out loud.
Yeah, that would be a thing. No, it's mostly because you guys
You
did
actually
investigate.
went in.
Oh.
So
I
it's more
haven't gone
Ash.
up top.
Yeah, that's a technicality. You did
It
send
really
your familiar
is.
up
It
there.
really is a technicality.
So give me a deception roll.
26.
What is it with you guys just nagging on important rolls? Okay, I need to know exactly how much these guys trust you. So we're going to roll the end of month trust roll.
Okay.
So you had a plus 43 for it?
43, yes.
Have you been keeping track
Great.
of all the
So-
points all of us have gotten, Show?
At least for this particular month plus the kid, yes.
So for Zen, how many points of trust do they get? Because they hang out with Huda and they do the scouting stuff.
We said it was half the time. Half
You
the
said
time
it
that
was
you're
one-
scouting was
And there's more.
like 0.5 per day that you spend tracking.
So then it might
Okay.
actually be more. Because
So
you've been doing a lot of that.
out of 7 days, that 0.5 adds up to 3 or 4.
Probably closer to 3, because there's days
Okay.
that you're not
Cool, so
necessarily.
then it's
So
actually
that's
plus
another 12.
45. Oh.
So that's 3 a
Okay.
week. So that's
Yeah.
4 weeks. That's 12 more.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What about? Because I know a couple of you have been earning trust, so that show would not have tracked.
Yeah, because I just started tracking.
My individual trust that I've gained this month, as far as I know, because the thing is, like, a lot of time I was just learning the language. My individual points is just 5.
Okay.
Mine has been 2 per week because I've spent at least 2 days most weeks helping repair and supply and do things around the village. So that
Okay.
would be
What about
probably
Tan and Ziri? I know Tan probably has quite a bit.
I actually only have the 7 because the last couple of weeks I'd been scouting around with Afune gathering information
Right. Okay.
instead of gathering trust. So I did trust this week, so I do have just 7.
7. Okay. And that leaves Ziri.
Can't hear you.
I said I've been splitting a lot of my time between language and just being useful. So 4 days this week. I don't think
Can
I
you
have
just,
too much.
yeah, just type it out in the chat because a lot of it is getting cut out,
I
unfortunately.
think didn't you at least this week do 3 days trust or no 4 days trust, 3 days language, or was it the other way around?
If anything like me, I think you did the same as me, so 4 days trust, 3 days language.
So we've been building up a lot of trust.
So 6 total from Ziri. Okay. So add all that up. Who's going to do the D100?
God, add all that up. We have, oh my god, a lot. Plus 7.
If no one else wants to, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the plus that you guys have, show?
61.
Holy shit. Okay.
Plus 61, you said?
Yep.
Well, thank God for that plus 61, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been working around the village a whole lot.
And we saved a
All
kid's
right.
life and collected a shit ton of fruit and just being useful.
Having a language circle for the kids.
Okay. So 6.
You rolled 3d6 and you got a 5 in total, Karu. Amazing.
I just need the rolls. Okay, so so you guys gain 1 permanent benefit and 2 temporary benefits. Temporary benefits basically are a month-long benefit that you don't get to keep going forward. You can decide which one of these is the permanent once I basically tell you what the 3 are. The first one you get is you get a plus 10 to your next earning trust roll. So that's one of your benefits. The second benefit you get is one of the serpent whisperers owes you a favor, which you can use. And if you choose this as a permanent benefit, that ally becomes basically a permanent ally, and you get like 1 favor per month from them. In this case, it would be Tomita, the woman whose daughter you saved and helped with the Sujadiyas. And the last one you got is supplies. You basically you are given enough food and water to survive until the end of the next month without having to do anything at all. So like you are covered in terms of food and water without having to do any foraging or trade.
Be temporary if it lasts for a month. right?
Yeah, so you can choose one of these to be permanent. The other two will be temporary, so 1 month duration.
I would say the next roll and the food and water, since it's already a month duration and we have to make an end of the month roll anyway. I think having a favor from someone permanently would be nice.
Yeah, I honestly say permanent ally is way more useful.
Anyone else?
Okay.
I mean,
Yep.
honestly, yeah,
Serious.
that's fair.
Okay. So you have Tomita as your ally. And that's basically why I wanted to roll this before we continued with the whole
Interrogation?
interrogation. Because at this point, Tomita speaks up for you and basically corroborates the fact that you've all been very helpful. You saved the life of her daughter. She would not be alive if not for them. I do not believe that this is their fault. And that will gain you first advantage. I need everyone to roll a persuasion check
Oh boy, this is not gonna go well.
With advantage?
with advantage.
This is not gonna go well.
Does say that. Oh,
I have a -2 to my persuasion. Okay.
hope it's an average.
Nope, this is a group check, so it's how many pass, how many don't.
10, 12, 16, 7.
And I'm proficient in
Show
persuasion.
you haven't rolled yet.
Oh, sorry. Ah. Ah. Get off of there. I was playing with something, so I was on talk to myself. Let me do it again. It was a 16, but okay.
+4, I'm proficient in persuasion. Still got 7.
What about Tahaku?
It's only one check for all of the NPCs, plus their highest charisma, which happens to be Afune. And she rolled a 13.
The gnome doesn't have to do it.
No, it's all three of them together as one,
Oh, okay.
just to make
Oh
things
boy.
easier. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. There's a lot of talking back and forth, and both from your end and from Tomita standing up for you. Suspicious people in the village. But at the end, Viothe sighs, shakes her head. I believe that you didn't do anything, but I am still uncertain about this whole deal. Everything was going all right until you arrived. I don't like this. You can stay in the village. As far as I am concerned, you are innocent. But believe me that we will be watching.
Is there anything we can do to help? Or
I don't know. This has never happened before in the history of our tribe. We can only hope that it is not a sign of worse things to come. When you're talking about the apes, are you talking about the heirs of Kong, like the ones protecting the
temple.
temple? They are basically standing guard by the temple. There's a couple that are like at the entrance to the village from the temple side watching. They are intelligent. They can understand what is being said, though they do not speak any language besides their own. They seem worried, though best you can tell is probably just equally worried because, this thing has been happening. This thing has been normally lit day and night since, as far as they're concerned, beginning of time, and now it's gone, and there's just this unease. In terms of the snakes, they do seem upset, confused,
Agitated.
kind of like think birds and animals when there's an eclipse,
Oh.
and like they just really don't know what to think of all this because they too have become accustomed to this green light in the village, but not alarmed in terms of like, oh, something bad is happening right now. No, it's more of a like confusion, like where did the green light go? That's not supposed to happen. Other than that, nothing else happens, and eventually many of the village go back to sleep, or at least to bed, though you get a sense that the unease is not something easily shaken, even though there's still half the night left. Sleeping without the green light seems to be hard for the people in the village.
'Cause they're
Is
not
there
used to it.
anything unusual in the sky?
No, it's overcast, but it's dark. You're used to seeing a green glow in the clouds when it's overcast, and now it's
Yeah, I don't like it.
dark. Unless you're Zen. Sorry, unless you're Ash.
Yeah, what's this dark you speak of? Huh. For those listening, Ziri is asking Ash telling Ash about the dream and if she sensed anything herself. Yeah, Karu. Like, I know the hex gave her an idea that something big and bad was underneath, but she hasn't really felt anything else since. Has she? Did anything feel weird
No.
with...
The way your magic works is kind of weird. You just have it.
Yeah. I
Yep,
kind of
you don't
feel...
know how.
Like, you don't do all that meditating stuff. You don't study in a book. You don't pray to any higher being. You just
have a
do it.
near-death experience and have magic. That's just how it works, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and like you haven't really gotten any vibes. Even with the glowing light disappearing, Blip doesn't seem bothered by it. He's like, "Oh, it's dark." Well, dark.
Yeah, like, neither of us actually know what this dark thing people talk about is.
There's no green glow. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is the same.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
as bright as all the time.
Yeah.
This is very weird.
Fun fact, everyone, Ash knows what time of day it is by how everyone else is reacting. If everyone's getting ready for bed, Ash knows it's nighttime. If everyone's getting up, Ash knows the sun is coming up. But when it's overcast, Ash has no concept of time.
Huh.
She cannot tell if it's night or day because light is just... she doesn't see the way everyone else does.
It's always brightly lit for her.
So basically, it's like if you're living in Sweden and it's all during that time of year where the sun never sets.
Yeah.
Yes, actually. Like, if it's
We had a
overcast, she can't tell what time of day it is.
Yeah.
Or
She goes
night.
by the sun for the most time and like stars. But we had a whole conversation because, like, yeah, she has devil's sight, so she sees in the dark as if brightly lit. AKA, there is no difference for her between if there is sunlight or if there is darkness of the night. It's all the same to her.
Yeah, if the sun suddenly burnt out, she wouldn't notice.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Really cool.
But yeah, she tells if it's like time to go to bed or stuff based more on how you guys are reacting.
And how tired you feel.
Yeah. And even then, that's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, that can desync pretty fast. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Probably a bit of a shock when she goes into a settlement after being gone for a while, and it's like, oh, what do you mean it's like midnight? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Ash just kind of shrugs at Ziri and is like, I don't notice or feel anything. Like, Blip doesn't notice anything weird either. I don't know how much he noticed to begin with, but, you know.
So, Karu, I know you said that Copper felt a bit of foreboding when that whole thing first went out. Does it feel empty now? Like hollow? Like not there?
No, the feeling's gone for now, although it's dark.
Mm-hmm. And did it feel kind of like, kind of like something was trying to tug on their own core? Or was it just...
No.
Huh. This is very weird. I do not like this.
Does the creature Ziri saw in his vision resemble anything that Ash observed in the temple?
Oh.
Look, it resembles more the like outside of the temple in terms of like great writhing mass of snakes. The one thing that I'd say was closest to it was the image of the like multi-headed hydra that was on some of them, including the collection of 12 different like creatures. So there was a couple of rooms that had like and that kind of sort of fits the description of what you saw.
Is that the thing that Tan was fighting, or is that something different?
Yes, that is again, it's just Tan was facing it, not necessarily fighting it.
But had a weapon.
Wasn't it a multi-headed flail?
It was a two-headed flail
Because,
with like serpentine heads on it.
For all we know, it could be a symbol of that thing's favor. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're facing it to defeat it. It might mean that you're facing it to represent it.
That's just what Ash saw with it.
Yeah, and this is what Copper would have been like, well...
Not a altar, it was a throne. But yes, the throne in the main area of the temple is carved into the statue of a multi-headed serpent. There's a lot of reoccurring images of multi-headed serpent here.
All right, I guess we should rest and talk more about this in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just get some sleep. Keep watches out in case the serpent whisper just decides to kill us in our sleep, just in case.
Yes.
All right. What's the highest perception in the party?
I swear to God, Orner, get the fuck out. I have a 12.
Mine's 14.
I'm pretty sure it's Ziri.
Yeah, 14.
14? Okay. Ziri's is 15. Okay. One thing that you've noticed is that Viothe, the leader of the village, always has a very unusual looking talisman hanging from her neck. It looks like a 4-inch, like rectangular bit of twisted steel with irregular edges and like holes cut into it. Um, it has a thin, glowing red line that runs from each short edge to the other. It kind of reminds you now of almost like the whole like same bit of like writhing mixture of snakes made into like a steel talisman. And she always has that with her.
Do you still have it?
Yep, she still has it. She's always seen with it.
Is it still glowing?
Hmm. Sure. It would take a bit of a walk out of the village, but as long as you're not too far, you're already on the hut's already on the edge of the village, so it's not too
I
difficult.
will say that if he does that, since Copper doesn't really rest, Copper would like kind of look towards him in question. Wouldn't say anything because he didn't want to. They don't want to wake anyone up. Uh-oh.
That
We
was
just
you.
lost Joe.
There she is.
Oh,
Internet hiccup, sorry.
I hope it didn't screw up the overlay.
Ash will have to change it. But okay.
No, because I never disappeared. The overlay's fine.
Oh,
You might want to. Oh, that's true. It is fine. All right. I'm just so used to seeing myself on the left hand side, and
mm-hmm.
okay. Is Ziri gonna ask for Copper to come or stay or anything?
I mean, Copper would probably stay unless otherwise requested. And if he went, he would probably poke somebody else awake.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Then Copper would be like, we should probably at least wake one person up so that people aren't asleep while this is going on and we are not there.
Just wake
you
up
see
Ash.
you see Blip kind of appear out of nowhere and raises a hand.
Keep your eyes peeled. And if something happens, wake Ash.
Not.
Big piece of snake meat.
Grabs it, goes to sit beside Ash, disappears.
Okay, I'm loving the buddy relationship these two have.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And that's part of why I decided.
Okay, so as you two go out, Ziri explains about the magical energy in his vision, and then he wants to use a spell to try and trace it.
I will probably mention to Ziri that when all this happened, for a moment I felt something in my core.
You guys did a detect magic when you first came to the village, didn't you?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
No?
No, we did not.
Okay.
No, we did, I think, prestidigitation or minor illusion, I think, to make shape so we could communicate because we didn't know the language. And I think that's what got us into trouble.
That's when we
Right.
were told no magic.
Yeah.
I thought you did disguise self, right? Okay. I thought Ziri had possibly done detect magic when you came into the village before
Mm-mm.
coming into the village to like tell.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So are you casting it as like just casting the spell and then moving back to the village, or are you gonna ritual cast it and take the 10 minutes? Okay. and 10 minutes of walking around. Where are you headed? Or what areas do you want to go through with the tech magic running? First thing you do notice is that definitely there's something magical about Copper himself, but that you know that that's coming from the
Core.
core.
It also might be coming from the sword.
Yeah, the sword's glowing with enchantment because it's a magical sword.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward on that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so detect magic only detects things within 30 feet of you, and if you can sense the magic this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you can learn a school of magic. You have to be able to see it to be able to see the aura. Spell can penetrate most barriers except 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. So, let me double check some distances. Because you're walking around the edge of the temple. Okay. How much stone? 1 foot of stone. Walking around the edge of the temple, you do not sense any magic coming from the temple or the surrounding area. And yeah, go ahead and if Copper's coming along, then both of you roll
Oh
stealth checks.
no. Well, it was nice knowing you. Oh, shit. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's nighttime, and I don't think
I don't have advantage, but that was still the first roll.
anyone protecting that place is. Yeah. Okay.
Uh-oh. That's worrisome.
Wait, I forgot they have disadvantage. Because it's dark. Okay. Still high enough. You're walking around and you're honestly almost finishing the loop, and you haven't detected any magic whatsoever besides that coming from your friend. When you sense a shadow moving in the darkness, and you've kind of had to like there is some light coming from like stars and stuff, but other than that, it is pretty dark, and you're probably having to keep your hand on the wall of the temple exterior. Well, not the temple itself, but the wall around the temple to keep from straying away or hitting something else. And you suddenly feel that it gets a bit darker as the star, like the light from above, is blotted out, and you look up to see one of the large gorillas standing on top of like the top of the wall, looking down, and he goes, "Arr." He hasn't seen you, Copper.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it that way unless absolutely necessary.
Okay.
He has been seen out stargazing more than once since we got here.
Yeah, it's true. I just kind of counter. I can't. I had said earlier that it was overcast, but it's probably like there's patches here and there because I just said there was some starlight to go through. Give me a persuasion check or deception. It's more of a deception check, but I'll let you roll persuasion.
Not like it's not the same thing
Hmm.
generally. Oh.
He does not look happy, and he points towards the village, like go. Basically, is the intention you're getting. I wonder if you can understand them with your beast sense. They are beasts. You could probably get the idea of
Hey,
what they're.
then that would have been with advantage if it were that case. If that were the case, wasn't it? Because don't you have advantage on charisma checks
You
against
have
beasts?
advantage against beasts, don't you? They're intelligent beasts, but they're still beasts.
Oh.
Plants and small animals. Okay. All right. Well, you can still get the whole "you're not welcome here. You shouldn't be here. You already nearly got in trouble earlier. Get the fuck out of here." Okay. You nod back off and head back to the village. The whole time you're close to the temple, however, you've not felt anything. Um yeah, in general it just feels like there is nothing magical going on anywhere near the village or the temple. At least now. If there was something before, kind of hard to tell.
Hmm.
So both of you get back to the hut.
Yep. Oh. So, just just for the future, Matt, you have a feature that could have turned you invisible.
Yeah, but that's a 6-second invisibility.
Yeah, I suppose.
So useful to a degree. But yes, you do have that. All right. Well, morning comes. There is a bit of unease in the village,
I mean, yes.
but life goes on, even when the comforting green light from the pylons is not there. It is definitely still off, but it's harder to tell in the day. But you can still see people going about their day kind of nervously and just glancing up at it once in a while. And it's the start of a new week. What do you guys want to do?
Language for 5 and helping out for 2.
I'm going to do helping out for 4, language for 3, but I do want basically one night when things calm down, just have Blip go up top and just see if the crystals are there. Like, not get close to it, but basically, are they there? Are they gone? I'm just curious as to if they've turned off or if they've been taken away.
Okay. All right.
Orin up to?
Orner is during the week, far as you can tell, seems to be making friendly with the villagers. He's got the language. He seems charismatic enough that people are like taking a liking to him. Like he's doing his best to make himself friendly with the villagers. Good job, Copper. Hey, look, Ash actually rolled high this time.
Wow.
Excuse you, last time she rolled even better.
But yeah, he seems to be behaving. He's on his best behavior. You guess the whole like, oh, these people are like pissed. He seems pretty curious. Like you catch him once in a while looking up at the pylons, but he's a gnome. He's an old man. He's definitely not going to try climbing up those things. He does kind of question you guys about it a
Speaking of
bit, kind of learn the whole seemingly powered by Odumbergite, and he does put forth the suggestion that maybe it's just been here long enough that the power went out on them. But if those things were meant to be some kind of beacon or something, then whatever it was doing, it is no longer doing it.
Oh,
That's my best guess. I am a scientist, and I do not know what exactly is happening. But if you tell me that up there was a green glowing crystal, then the only green glowing crystal I know of is Odumbergite. And while Odumbergite seems to last quite a while, I'm sure its power can run out if it is being channeled.
it is definitely not infinite.
So, whatever it was doing, it is no longer doing it.
Well,
seem to be liking it here.
No, these people are friendly enough. A bit simple. They live a very simple life here, but at least it means they're not asking me to do anything.
complicated.
Yes.
So you're figuring on retiring here? It's going to be your new home?
No. Oh no. No, we have to get off this island. Whatever's happening here, I don't want to be here when it happens.
Yes. And I would highly recommend staying away from those groups of holes that you occasionally will find.
Oh?
It's filled with snakes. They will kill you.
Well, filled with things that look like snakes.
Well, not snakes, but snakes. They'll kill you.
Well, I'd rather not be
Plant.
killed by things.
Yeah, do not recommend.
What's your plan?
You did say that you were working on something.
Yes. It is a pity that the cores that were in those pylons have been depleted of energy. Because if we want to get off this island, we're going to need a core.
I'm afraid mine won't be enough to power anything. Save me.
Do you have
Probably.
fix?
What about the other one?
I'm going to assume this conversation is not happening anywhere near Tohaku
Nope.
and Afune, so he goes,
Yeah, oh yeah.
well, if I could find the core of the predator, I could use that. But apparently, Tohaku hid it from me.
Okay, you
Are
have
you
to
really-
admit that was a safe thing to do considering what you had done before.
Yeah. Are you really surprised?
Well, I am telling you now, you help me find a core, and we can get off this island.
So you fixed the ship.
Oh no, that ship's broken. That's not the first ship that crashed on this island.
Well, of course not. We came on a different ship.
I think he meets before.
I kind of figured.
Ah. So did you encounter anyone else on this island?
Not people. This crash site was long, long ago. But their ship didn't suffer as much.
And I'm just gonna kind of look at the others because we saw people going in a different direction that wasn't this place. There might be others. Well, there are others.
Well, I don't care about others unless they happen to have a glowing green stone. About yay big to power another ship. Just saying. I don't think any of you want to spend all your lives here in this simple village.
Particularly now that those pylons are down. Nah.
Karu,
Yep.
were the core still there?
Yes.
Okay, so they were. Was there anything else there, or just?
It was the same as last time Blip went up there. The only difference was that the rocks were now dark.
Inert.
Go's gone. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just wanted to make sure they hadn't been taken.
Or that they hadn't been cracked.
Yeah, basically. You realize Tahaku's not going to tell us where it is.
Yeah, he still doesn't trust me.
I mean,
wonder why.
again, to be fair, it makes sense why he doesn't trust you. You kind of did crash the ship.
And you tried to turn it into a bomb.
Yeah, that too.
It's true. I certainly haven't killed as many as the Dinzers have.
True,
Not for
but there are a
lack of
lot of
trying.
people besides the Dinzer that you could have killed too.
At the time, I was willing to make that sacrifice.
I'm glad you're no longer willing to make that sacrifice. I'm just gonna kind of stare at him unblinkingly.
How do you feel about the fact that you were willing to hurt so many innocent? Just curious.
It's neither here nor there.
So, do you know anything about magic, or do you just know things about technology?
I am a scientist, not a magic user.
Okay. Do you know of a way to, like, charge crystals? Because, I mean...
No. Odembergite is a natural forming crystal. I've long suspected that the Odembergite crystal magic is related to Khazar's magic itself. It's an extension of the core
Huh?
of the planet itself.
Oh. So does that mean you just dig a hole and you might find some?
It's not quite that easy. It's only shown up in very small pockets here and there, mostly in Dinzer-controlled areas, which is
Apparently
why
not.
they have the biggest technological advancements using it. Honestly, if I had to guess, that honestly does look Dinzer-like to me, and he points at the steel pylons.
You know about tech, though. What would... looking at, like, how it's built and stuff, how old would you consider it to be? Based on, like, wear and all that kind of stuff.
It's hard to tell because that is steel. But considering those things got powered down, unless they were powering something extremely energy consuming, this place could be thousands of years old. Do you know anything of what those pylons were supposedly doing?
They were just glowing.
No. Nothing? You've not learned anything from the villagers themselves
They
as
did.
to what they think the pylons did?
They think it protects them. from the island, from the world. That's why they're upset. They saw him as protection.
He kind of thinks this over. And when Ziri mentions about their island being discovered by outsiders, he starts to nod slowly. Oh. Then I revise my statement. It can't be thousands of years old. Magic powerful enough to hide this island from the rest of the world would be consuming quite a lot of magic to keep it up. And if those things just went dark, well, their invisibility spell just poofed.
Which means that people can now find them.
How long would you consider crystals relatively, say, this size would last with that kind of magic constantly?
Maybe 1,000 years, maybe 2,000, not more than that.
I'll be right back. And Ash is gonna go find Tahaku.
Okay.
Hey, Tahaku, I have a question for you.
Tahaku is busy cutting wood. Firewood.
I have a question.
Yeah?
So, you were sending out like a distress signal, right? To try and get help coming, yes?
Yes.
Is that still going on? Was it temporary? How did it work?
I left it signaling at the old camp. Should still be powered.
Okay, thanks, bye.
What? Alright, he goes back to cutting wood.
Ash just comes back and is like, So if there was magic that those things were powering that was keeping this thing from being found, could it also like block out, like it wouldn't just be invisibility, it would be like, say, signals, like I don't know how, like magic? I don't know. How does the technology signals work? Like how copper works normally. Like how, well, things like copper. Would invisibility also block that? Also, would that affect how long those crystals, can be powered for if it was also blocking out things like that?
I don't think something like that would necessarily affect the energy used by the cores. If it kept this place hidden, and if it truly does have something so powerful in that temple, I am very curious about what's in that temple, by the way.
Good luck getting in, though. They'll kill you.
Yep, if you're lucky.
Those pylons were probably not just blocking signals, but even blocking magic. Things like locate objects.
Okay.
Probably even divination spells.
So that's gone now. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Tahaku left his distress signal going on the beach at the old camp.
Oh.
Oh, excellent. Then we can assume the Dinzers will eventually find us.
I think we should want that.
I particularly do not.
You don't like the Dinzer. The Dinzer are bad, you say, right? Yes?
Yes.
Do you really want them coming to this island and destroying it?
Well, it would save me the trouble of finding them to destroy them.
This is why no one likes you.
Then again, they might come with the full force of their army, in which case we will be nothing but bugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if he's put up that signal, that means he's probably using the Orumburgite core to power it, which means I am willing to go with you to find that core.
Hey, is there a way that you could, I don't know, build something that could track that signal? Piggyback, maybe?
Possible, though I'd have to go back to the ship.
Well, if we've got to go that direction anyway.
The ship is to the north of the island,
Areas we haven't explored.
north of the mountains.
Oh.
Oh,
Hey.
you've been that far?
Yes.
North of the mountains. Weren't those people north of the mountains?
They
Or
were on the
more-
other side of. They were on the other side on our way to Goliath.
Yeah, you spotted them closer to this area here, and they were on the other side of the island
Okay.
of the from there. So not necessarily north. It was more.
So it's closer to the Goliath that the ship was, or is
Yes.
it even more
Is he
north?
talking
Okay.
like way up here?
Yeah, he's talking. Well, he says it's north of Buddha's lair, and so yeah, probably north of Goliath,
Okay.
somewhere around here.
Well, we don't. The rest of us don't know where Buddha's lair is, and honestly, most of us, or at least one of us, doesn't really care where Buddha's lair is. If I would-
So, where you would have to go to build things is the opposite of our camp, right? From
Correct.
where we. So that would take too much time. We might want to head to the camp, guys. I mean, it's a long ways. We can do hunting and gathering along the way and bring stuff back, but maybe us being outside the village for a little while will help everyone calm down. I don't know.
It's
Hey.
possible.
Hey, Karu. So, since I felt something when the Odinburgite, or whatever it was, on the pylons went out, would I be able to kind of feel something similar from active Odinburgite? Given that it's powering me as well.
I don't think it's something that active. I don't think it would have that kind of property that you could like detect the magic of a core.
Okay. Other thing is, since I'm normally remotely piloted, there'd have to be a signal that was sent
To
to
you.
me.
Yeah. And you probably still have the mechanical bits that would allow someone to pilot you from a distance. You're not sure if that would still work or not now that you have gained sentience.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Copper getting like residual feedback if he was near another one, like when you put a microphone and a speaker too close to each other.
That's actually what I was kind of going for. Because it's a signal sending a signal, like signal dual broadcasting.
Too many signals on the same frequency.
So when I start to get a headache, there's another signal.
Yeah, but that's considering like a remote pilot. But then again, they would have things like they usually have remote pilots working possibly in close conjunction, so they wouldn't make sure that that kind of thing is not going to bother.
I suppose.
Should we head out relatively soon, just in case? You know, be like, hey, you guys are kind of mad at us right now. We're gonna go gather supplies because, hey, you always need food and supplies and stuff, and
And maybe it'll give you some time to chill out.
Oh, don't say it like that.
Maybe
I mean, it also could be a, hey, if these things turn back on when we leave, that's proof that it was us, right? But if they don't turn on, hey, it wasn't us. We're trying to help you.
If it was us, we have no idea how we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we have no idea. We really don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But we can add in the whole, we'll leave for a while. We'll go hunting, gather stuff for you guys. It turns back on, there's your proof, and we won't, if you tell us not to come back because they turn back on, we won't come back anymore. But, yeah.
All right. So assuming you don't get lost, you know that the trip to the crash site from the village takes 4 days.
Okay.
We could do that
Food
next
and
week.
stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
that is true, Zeri, but I mean, we'll see if we come back with food. Maybe they'll let us back in. Maybe. Let's just gather up everything we need and head out tomorrow, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna want to talk to Vuda
Okay.
before they go. And, tell her that we're going to go hunting and gathering, and we're going to be gone a few days.
More than a week.
Yes.
Okay. Probably better. You're sure you didn't cause...
But what happened? Even if it was something that we have no idea how. And it wasn't like we meant it.
Okay. You haven't gone in the temple, have you?
I have not gone into the temple.
Okay. All right. Be safe.
Thank you. Hope to see you again.
She nods. And Orner is given a lot of supplies to go, since he's going as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dahaku kind of approaches in the evening and goes, so where exactly are you guys heading?
I'll end up, hunting and doing, perhaps eventually end up going back in the direction of that Goliath. Kind of might have seen something around there. So we'll probably eventually end up in that area.
All right, well, be careful. We'll continue befriending the people here in the village. And hopefully nothing happens now that whatever those cores were doing here is stopped.
How's it going learning the language, by the way, Tahaku?
That's a good question. How smart are you, Tahaku?
I'm going to say something particularly crude and draconic. See if he reacts.
Okay,
Pretty
I
sure he
might
can
not
tell
know
that.
what you said, but I can tell it was rude.
He's been doing decently. He's probably by now got like
Tourist?
Tourist draconic.
draconic. Yeah, I haven't really been rolling for him, but he's been mostly doing that and more helping than learning language. But
Also, how's the rabbit you had?
Rabbit's fine. I miss the little dude. He spends more time with the kids now.
Fair enough.
Except when he's tired. Then he just, snuggles up.
I appreciate
Somewhere
the
where he
fact
won't
he
get
has
bothered.
it.
We never did think of a name for that rabbit.
That's Tahaku's job. It's his bunny.
I'm surprised that it actually went with the kids because they'd be more often than not nearer to the snakes, and that would probably scare the rabbit to death.
I mean, the rabbit's gonna have to get used to the whole snake thing because you guys have
Yeah.
been here for 2 months and there are snakes everywhere. So
I wonder how many times they've tried to eat him.
Listen, that rabbit survived the ship crashing. I think it's an immortal rabbit.
at this point, we're gonna end up having to like stat out the rabbit.
Yes.
Yes.
Toughest rabbit in existence. All right, so you all pack up your things, and the group of you plus Orner start heading back to the crash site. I'm assuming you guys are taking the beach route.
Probably a safer bet, and we can keep an eye
Yeah.
out for ships.
Okay. All right. So you head that way, and I think that's where we're going to end the session today.
Woo!
Okay.
No one died. Even the gnome didn't die.
No
Yeah.
one died.
Unfortunately.
And you're still, welcome in the village.
For
to
now.
an extent.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.